Hey ho, everyone! It's me, Niall, from Bat Minute here, coming to you this Friday, so you're not left empty-handed after the end of the Batman Forever season there. Felt a little guilty leaving you on Wednesday with, nothing coming up for your weekend, so decided to drop in and give you this extra little bit of content here. Basically, people might be able to tell from the title, this is an interesting deleted scene from the table read that we did quite recently. I should explain that in case people don't know, if you're, don't follow the show as closely. Basically, a little while back, we recorded a table read of Tom Mankiewicz' 1984 Batman script, the one that, the germ that eventually mutated and informed Sam Hamm and whatnot's drafts of the 1989 Batman movie, but is also completely different. We did a table read, myself and a series of Batman guests and Movies by Minutes presenters, and we presented that for download at the Movies by Minutes at Home festival that was a couple of weeks back there. And now you can get that on the Bat Minute Patreon, that entire 3-hour and 12-minute table read. It was pretty immense. But you might be sitting there wondering, how is there a deleted scene from that table read? And I'll explain to you how that happened. Basically, the PDF that you get online of Tom Mankiewicz's script, we were working with it for quite some time, and right up until the 11th hour, when people were like really, all the parts had been assigned and everyone was really getting down and getting to grips with what they were doing there. Some people had even printed out and bound the friggin' script like it was, a dissertation or something. Basically, then we discovered that page 61 of the script was missing from that PDF. So it was like, oh my god, what are we going to do? I went out hunting and discovered that there was an even earlier draft than the one we were working with. The one we ended up recording was the second draft of the script, and it turned out there was a first draft that was very poorly formatted on a different website. So from that, I managed to get page 61 of the script, because it turned out that both drafts, with minor differences in dialogue, were almost virtually identical, except this one scene. And this scene, I decided that we should definitely record in some capacity, because it was pretty interesting. And I'll let you hear that particular scene. It's only a little short thing, but here it is. Interior, bedroom, day. Camera pans a spacious bedroom, which is entirely decorated in black and white. A huge 4-poster bed dominates, covered by a piece of white drapery in the shape of an open umbrella, also in black and white. It frames the figure of the Penguin, who lies in bed, an ice pack on his head, a thermometer sticking out of his mouth. This is an elegant man, dressed in a white robe with a black collar, propped up on black silk sheets against black and white checkered pillows. A cooing sound makes him glance at a partially opened window, where a pigeon has landed, now looks at him questioningly. The Penguin makes a chuckling bird-like sound of welcome, which the pigeon seems to recognize. It flies over to his bed, hops up into his lap. A statuesque woman, Empress, enters, carrying a tureen of shrimp embedded in ice. She wears a tight wool body stocking, a muffler wrapped around her neck.
Here, sweetie, eat them while they're nice and frozen. Feel better?
A smidge.
The Penguin removes his thermometer, looks at it.
65 degrees. Normal. I can't understand it.
He takes a bite of frozen shrimp, removes the ice pack from his head, slips it inside his robe. He leans in, tugs on Empress's muffler gently, and smiles.
Feel like feathering the nest for a while?
If you'll let me turn the thermostat up to 40... That was our deal, remember?
He strokes her face tenderly, makes his clucking sound. Shivers runs up and down her body.
Confess, when you're with me, it's always Honolulu in your heart.
Are you kidding? It's so cold in here, a flasher would have described himself. What
There.
does that mean?
Described.
I don't know
Yeah.
what the hell that means.
That's why it's a draft.
There is a knock from the doorway. A 7-foot, sallow-looking butler, Marabou, with a vulture-like face appears.
Excuse me, Mr. Penguin. Your luncheon guest has arrived.
Thank you, Marabou.
May I take your luncheon order now, sir?
The pigeon coos from Penguin's lap. He looks down.
Why, yes, Marabou. Yes, you may.
His hand wanders below frame. We hear the sound of a neck snapping. The Empress turns away in disgust. Interior, Penguin's dining room, day. An elegant dining room. At one end of a checkered black and white table, the Penguin. Dressed in white tie and tails, he pops an icy codfish bowl into his mouth.
Even for a criminal as phenomenally gifted as I, this is indeed an honor, sir.
At the other end, the Joker, teeth chattering, not touching his food. Wrapped in a heavy overcoat with muffler and earmuffs, he blows into his hands. 4 sets of candelabra are drawn in around him for warmth. Nice little meat locker you got here. Who'd you buy it from? Bird's Eye? A frozen giggle collapses. The Penguin blinks stoically.
I'm heartbroken you haven't touched your food. I had that clownfish cooked especially for you. Do you prefer codfish balls?
I don't know. I never attended any. An insane chuckle rises, then dies, teeth chattering. But seriously, Big Bird, I need a favor.
Outside of possibly offering you a brain scan, how may I be of help?
I've worked hard to make Gotham a city we could all be proud of. The kind of place where an ambitious young hood could come home after a hard day of dealing drugs and get some peaceful sleep at night. But that was all BB.
Before Batman.
Rim shots. And I'd like to send that cowled cop lover on a little trip tomorrow night. But I'm going to need you to provide the flight insurance. Which reminds me, do you know what you get when you make love to the wrong canary?
I haven't a clue.
Twerpies. He explodes with laughter. The Penguin stares blankly. Not only that, but the disease is completely untweetable. The Penguin winces sadly, lowers his eyes as the Joker slams his semi-frozen clownfish against his plate, his body racked by uncontrollable guffaws. And scene.
Yay!
Woo! There you go. So it turned out in that particular draft, there was also a cameo appearance by the Penguin, a character who does not appear in the other 1984 Tom Mankiewicz script. The character is completely exercised. And I do know, though, from research we did way back when for Batman 89, or Batminute 89, when we were Batminute 89, I know that there was talk that Peter O'Toole was supposed to be in line to play the Penguin at one point. And so in doing the table read, it was like, oh, it's weird, the Penguin's not in this at all. But then discovering, oh no, apparently there was a version where he was in it. And not only that scene, but people who have heard that our finished version of the script will know that there's a big car chase, well, car and Batmobile chase. That involving Batman and Silver St. Cloud and a whole horde of goons, very similar to the chase that shows up in the chase that shows up in Batman 89, and in the Mankiewicz, the second draft that is against the Joker's goons, and the Joker's going around in a little helicopter kind of thing. Originally, in this first draft of the script, it's the Penguin the little assignment that Joker's given the Penguin at the end of that little scene there is this car chase, this attack on Batman. And the Penguin's going around in his helicopter umbrella. And everything's the same. Like, all the action's the same. All the dialogue the Penguin has is the same as the Joker has in the recorded version we did. They just changed the name Penguin to Joker. But still, the fact that there was a weird Penguin cameo there in that original draft, it felt like we can't just let that sit. We can't go out in the world and go, this was the original version of Batman that we're going to make, and then not at some point mention, like, no, there was also supposed to be a Penguin cameo. It also was fortuitous because, unfortunately, when we did the table read, my illustrious co-host, John Parker, and their partner, a very familiar voice to all Batman listeners, Lol Gull, they weren't able to attend. I think they were originally supposed to, and things just didn't work out. But this gives them an opportunity to also be involved. I'd like to thank them for lending their voices there to the part. And so yeah, that was just a little extra thing to throw in to brighten up, your Friday afternoons there. Now that the Forever season is done and Bat Minute is officially back on hiatus. But don't worry, we're not completely gone yet. People subscribe to the Patreon where you can get the entire table read and whatnot, both in video form where you can see me friggin' my face on screen for goddamn 3 hours and a whole host of other people. You can also get it in an MP3 format, so you can just listen to it if that would be preferable for you. But you can get that, of course, our coverage of the long Halloween, issue by issue. And because now hiatus is upon us, and we've got loads more free time, there's going to be tons of content landing on there. Like, I know we've said in the show, but we're trying to branch out. We're going to be doing more comic reviews, more movie reviews, but also looking into books and albums and all kinds of crazy crap, whether it be Batman based or just Batman tangential. We'll be covering a lot of stuff there because now we got the time, we got the tools, we've got the talent. So, well, that's debatable, but we're gonna give it an attempt anyway. So, and also, don't worry if you're going through some, financial hardships and whatnot in these crazy times we're all going through, and you're like, I don't want to have to give money over to a Patreon thing that's just to listen to something. On our free feed, on the main feed, the feed where you get the normal show, there will, of course, also be hiatus specials going up. And the first one isn't too far off. Like, the wheels are already in motion. So keep an eye out. Keep your ears to the ground, because that one isn't too far off. But in the meantime, folks, I will bid you all an adieu. And if you will all sing along with me. Ba-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da.